Hi, it's Tacticus again, and today's video will be the last in my series of reviews of Tacticus in 2024. It's become late February, so it's about time to wrap this up. Today we'll have a look at the new game modes of last year, and we'll discuss whether the changes overall serve to keep the game fresh. We shortly brushed Incursions last video, and there's really not much more to say about them. While the battles felt tedious and samey at times due to limited enemy varieties and the recycling of maps, and thus weren't always fun from a gameplay perspective, the rewards were great for a mode not using energy. The capped battles with the limited roster to unlock new characters in the form of machines of war was a nice new approach. I'm pretty tired of capped battles after the introduction of campaign events though. You can see what I think of campaign events in the last week's video. It seems that Snowprint are willing to change Incursions up by introducing branched paths and not forcing you to start on the lower levels in 2025. Let's see what other new game modes Tacticus had to offer in 2024. Guild Wars. The new game mode Guild Wars was introduced March 21st, and although always stated it was pretty much a beta, a lot of the staples of the current mode were already showing. At the beginning there were already 6 wars, and the system of having 10 tokens and attack and defense were similar to now. People also leapt at the chance to get Rotbone shards in the shop, and with Morgan Ra leaving the guild shop but not having his campaigns yet, those found a place in the shop. Ulf as an ungrindable was also there. Buildings didn't do too much though, and this was addressed April 25th in the troop garrison and the armory. The guardsmen were totally overtuned at the beginning, which was the same for all guilds, so at least for guild ratings it didn't do much, but led to many a feel bad moment. The same patch also improved the matchmaking, which seemed really random before, and vastly improved UI and visuals. Morgan Ra was replaced by the Death Leaper, which no one seems to like, but at least there was an avenue to get an ungrindable character. Ulf was later replaced with Njal, another ungrindable which checked out. Guardsmen were addressed in the next war end of April. May 14th we got a counter for the remaining enemy tokens, which was nice, and July 19th provided an enlistment list for your guild as well as a ticket and character count for all guild members, which certainly made my job as a guild leader easier. New maps and adjusted rarity caps further added polish to the mode. July 8th, the earning of currency was changed to award a flat amount for attacking and lowered the amount of currency for defeating enemies. This was a great change that didn't make a difference for successful attacks, but got people to attack even if they felt they couldn't do much. Also, if the enemy was wiped, you'd now still get currency for attacking and weren't punished for being late. From July 23rd, leaders could assign priority targets, a good change, not having to rely on the wonky guild chat anymore. The auto-enlist checkbox was a nice idea, but having to fight 5 battles and tick a box meant, at least in my guild, only half the people actually did it. Some buildings were changed around, removing for example the guardsmen and exchanging them with assault intercessors. The Vox station now provided a global Valkyrie strike. The end of September brought an activity log showing all actions taken and helped assess the state of the guild by showing each player's point. Officers also got the setup and priority target rights guild leaders have, which helps to share the burden. From November 5th, the grind them down debuff was added to reward additional attacks to the same target. Now, I love Guild Wars. In theory. The mode is fun to me, and while I hear a lot of people in Discord have burned out, the majority of my guild likes the mode and builds teams especially for it. At the beginning, a change of shop content was teased, and having had only one rotation for the whole time and only 6 slots makes a lot of people feel like the rewards aren't worth it, which I definitely get. It's a decisive mode, but I personally enjoy it a lot. If the rewards were appropriate, I can see myself giving it a 5. But the way it is, it's a 4 out of 5 stars for me. Survival. With the Titus release in September 1st, the first survival mode started, where you have to live through waves with a limited roster, with your characters being kept to the wave at hand. The second survival in October featured Asgore and Chaos and made the healing upgrades more valuable. Since the mode is very time intensive, the token cap was up to 5, but the time of the event varied, with the Asgore event having half token time over half the event time. There were some nice UI changes and smoother difficulty added. The third event in November featured Tangida as Imperium and made healing power-ups work on Max, and the fifth one united all Xenas under the festive spirit with the Red Gobbo. It's a shame he wasn't a permanent character. There have been leaderboard issues at first, but the biggest critique I find out of the mode is just the time requirement. The rewards are great, although you have to pay if you want to reach the last chest. Compared to other offers, I think the survival deal has been really fair, so I won't hold that against them. The steady influx of XP books is also a great addition to the game. I enjoy the mode, and it constantly evolves and seems here to stay, so I give it a 5 out of 5 points. So, that's actually it for the new game modes added. There weren't that many, but I think the game gives us enough to do in daily play anyways, and since a lot of people felt the game stressful at times, I think they had to hit a break at some point. I feel like the amount and quality of new game modes definitely helped the game stay interesting during the last year. What do you think? Since they didn't fit the other categories, let's also add a small overview over the changes that happened to shops over last year. Rogue Trader. There were a few character changes in the Rogue Trader, which I mostly felt neutral towards. Increased Archeotech heals from Incursion are possible, but I don't think a lot of people have achieved them yet. It's a 3 out of 5 for me, nothing much changed. Daily Shop. On May 14th, an occasional energy pack for raid tickets was added, which somehow never really appears for me. Snowprint says they can't just turn it up, which is a shame. On June 19th, the newly introduced ammunition started to really clutter at only 6 spots in the shop, and they were accordingly cut down to only appear if you have less than 50 of them, which seems a sensible change. From then on, components for machines of war can appear in the shop, but with the additions to Supply Run, I never really felt the need. From August 22nd, requisitions started to not appear in the exact amount you need, but in quantities of 5 you can buy as many of as you like to fill out your 10 pulls. From the 5th of November onwards, coins disappeared from the daily shop, and a new, always available coin pack was introduced, and it had better exchange rates than before. There is now also a daily 3000 coins for watching an ad, which is a nice idea. If you want some recommendations on ad watches, I also did a video on that here. Also, requisitions disappeared from the shop altogether, freeing up space and making filling up to 10 pulls always available. From December 10th, prices for rare, epic and legendary forge badges, equipment items and components were reduced. The shop went back and forth between becoming more cluttered and having fat trimmed. I think Snowprint could just add more rows to it and sell more stuff. Most changes were absolutely necessary and more could be done, so 3.5 out of 5 stars for me. With that, we'll wrap up this retrospective of 2024. I always find it interesting to see what changes. A lot of the stuff we take for granted now was introduced at some point, and many of the changes done in 2024 made the game better and more exciting for me. I especially like that Snowprint tried to change around old game modes and introduce new ones, and seemed to be willing to experiment a bit. Let me know which new game mode was your favorite, or what other modes you can imagine that could have been added to the game. Thank you so much for sticking with me so far. If you like my content, you can support me in-game by using my referral code BET60edu and earn yourself 100 Blackstone by doing so.